Hello everyone, my name is Professor Albert Nigrin. I'm the Executive Director and the Curator of the New Jersey Film Festival, and starting in January we will be celebrating our 44th anniversary. We've been doing this festival since 1982. It's a biannual festival and there's a fall program and a spring one, but you're saying to yourself, January, how does that sync up with spring? Well, January is when the spring semester begins at Rutgers University, because that's where the festival has been based for 44 years, and we'll begin the festival on January 23rd. It will run through February 22nd on weekends, and screenings are going to be in a hybrid format, which means that there'll be online and in-person screenings for just about all of the films. And so if you'd like to check out our website, go to njfilmfest.com. And when you get to our homepage, just click on where it says Tickets and Info for the Spring 2026 New Jersey Film Festival, and that will send you to our beautiful website at Eventive, which is our streaming provider. Today we have a wonderful filmmaker who I've known for many, many years, and he's here to present his new film, Portrait of a Monastery. His name is John Decker, and he's an Asbury Park native, right?
Ocean Township.
Resident.
Yeah, I'm currently a resident of Asbury Park.
Yes, so John, I've been kind of following your career for the last 3 decades, since I think I've known you that long. And this film is just amazing. Portrait of a Monastery is focusing on a monastery in upstate New York. And tell us a little bit about how you got involved in this project.
Well, to go back a step, about 7 years ago, I decided I just needed a retreat. And so I Googled retreat centers, and I decided I just wanted to be a few hours away from home. I Googled retreats in New York, and this monastery came up, and it sort of piqued my curiosity. So I booked a room for a couple of nights, and the first time I had showed up there, and I walked through the parking lot, and I was just sort of captivated by the beauty of the grounds of the monastery, this 100-year-old monastery. And then from there, I just remember this, it's sort of hard to articulate, but the minute I crossed into the monastery and entered into that space, it literally was as though I was transported into a different era. And but in a way that was also incredibly relevant to where I was at mentally, spiritually, and it just really resonated with me. And so as a result of this experience, which was pretty profound, I found myself frequenting the monastery on retreats. And through this series of retreats, I started to befriend a lot of the brothers in the community and sort of built up their trust and forged genuine friendships with a lot of these brothers. And then, so that's how I was initially.
Well, I mean, you shot the film over the course, not over 7 years. I mean, you started working on this last year, correct?
I filmed for an entire year, about 6 months of pre-production prior to that. And what happened was after just sort of bearing witness to all this beauty over the many retreats that I had made up to Holy Cross Monastery, I just decided to broach the subject to one of the brothers, saying, I have this idea, and it's just a way to kind of showcase some of what I was privy to experiencing firsthand, and a way to kind of share that with others who may not even know that monasteries still exist. And so that brother took it to the superior, and they had a meeting, and the next thing you know, I got a phone call saying, we really, they were familiar at that point with my photography, and they enjoyed my photography. So they were receptive towards this idea. And
there's no question the beauty of the film is uncompromised. I think you see these wonderful shots of winter. You get a seasonal feel for the film too, which I really liked. And I wrote down that there were a series of recurring tropes or themes that I saw, the train going by, or the steamers on the Hudson, and the bell tolling is a big theme that reappears, and the moon shots and the sun shots. I really enjoyed the visual aspect of the film, but I also got to see, it's kind of a day in the life of a monastery.
That's exactly right. And again, when I broached the subject, I said, I don't want to in any way disrupt your daily lives.
Right.
This isn't a Hollywood production. I want to show up with a camera and work quietly behind the scenes, and basically observe,
Right.
and be able to record the things that I was.
It's an observational documentary. I think when people say, well, what the hell is an observational documentary? It's where there's no narration.
Right.
And it was popular in the 60s. I mean, I think you do ask a question once in the film. Maybe it's somebody else. But that's not important. I think it's very impressionistic. I think you use that term too.
That's the term I use to best communicate what I was after to the brothers, because I think when you hear the word documentary, a lot of things come to mind, because there's so many various forms of documentary. So I wanted to articulate to the community exactly what I was seeing.
Right.
And because I also think that that sort of film is more universal in tone. And because it's really just giving people access to this sort of inner sanctum of this world, this world that exists within the world.
Right.
And so that's really, and they love that idea. They love the idea of this not having to make formal interviews and narration and a purely visual piece.
But it's also very musical.
It is.
I mean, there's a lot of punctuation of music where you have, of course, there's mass and we hear some of the chanting going on, but it's also where these guys are talented musicians too.
Oh yeah.
And so you're able to get little snippets of them playing.
Yeah.
Was that something that was premeditated, or you?
It's just part and parcel with monastic tradition, and not to single any of the brothers out because they're all so incredibly gifted in their own right. But Brother Josep, who is featured in the film, was an opera singer. And so they have such incredibly varied backgrounds. I always say if you met one monk, you met one monk. And because they're all very different people, and they're all very interesting people. And I wanted to kind of give this sort of democratic cross-section of life on a daily basis. Nothing grandiose, nothing artificial, just what life looks like in the monastery over the course of a calendar year.
Yeah, I think you do a masterful job, and I thought it was the perfect film for the winter also, since there are a lot of winter scenes in the movie, and just them singing the carols and jingle bells and things like that.
Yeah.
So how much footage did you actually shoot?
I shot roughly 16 hours worth of footage, and it would have actually been more had the camera that I used had a feature where you don't actually have to record. You can sort of anticipate a shot, and then it'll go back and record that.
Wow.
So it's always sort of, it's a very unique feature. Had I not used the camera with that particular technology, I probably would have shot 4 times the amount of footage.
Wow.
But out of the 16 hours, and I'm very particular, I always say this was like, I felt like I was doing landscape photography because everything was locked off, everything was static, and I really wanted to be a fly on the wall.
Right.
And so I'd find the space, I'd find a composition and a window in which I wanted to view their world, and I would just wait alongside that tripod and the camera. And sometimes I'd walk away with a single shot over the course of a weekend.
Wow.
And sometimes it was just like magic where everything just started to flow. And but it took having to show up an awful lot over the course of that year, much more than I originally anticipated. Because there was one shot in particular that I got right away in the beginning, and that sort of set the bar. And so then I said, well, this will be the standard by which I will judge the other shots, and so consequently I had to keep showing up more and more to get the shots that I was after. Yeah.
Well, it's a wonderful film. We will be screening this on Saturday, January 24th. It'll be online for 24 hours, and there'll be an in-person show at 7 o'clock. That's part of a short documentary program we'll be doing, and John will be there to do a Q&A with the audience. And tickets are $15 general admission, and that means that you can watch online and or in person. And in fact, we have a number of people that watch during the day, and then will come and watch the movies again that evening and interact with the film directors. So If you'd like more information about our festival, go to njfilmfest.com and you can get all the information you need about our festival. We'll be showing over 40 films from around the world between January 23rd and February 22nd on weekends. So come and hang out with us. And I want to say thank you so much, John.
Thank
It's
you.
always good to see you, but it's nice to see you in this setting. So thank you so much.
Likewise. Thank you.